You are now live. You are now about to You are now about to listen to. Is Deadpool 3, the movie, going to change? Going to save Phase 3 of the Marvel universe? Alan, correct me. Phase 4
Phase
of the
4.
Marvel universe. I'm here today with Alan, my brother. There we go. That will probably
Hey.
saved on the YouTube. Welcome back to the Brandon K Show. I am your host, as always, Brandon K. This is the live show. This is a real show. Uh, this is the live version, the first live Brandon K Show, broadcasted on all platforms. I'm here with my brother Alan to talk about Deadpool trailer.
Ooh, Deadpool 3.
Deadpool,
And maybe more, other follow-ups to the Deadpool jump off, I guess we'll call it.
Deadpool 3 coming soon. I watched the trailer. I'm gonna post a clip of me reacting to it
That's
on
kinda cool.
YouTube here soon. I also posted an episode today with my tattoo artist, Crow's story.
Can you cut away for 1 second to just you?
Okay. So I did an episode today.
Okay, I'm
With
back.
Crow, my tattoo artist. Alan, did you watch my Crow episode? Did you watch Children of?
Crow. I have not watched the Crow episode yet.
Yeah, Crow's a good guy, and we got
It's
his whole
mostly about tattoos, or what was the theme of that one?
theme is
Children
children
are the future.
and how to help the children.
Yeah. I gotta watch that one.
Yeah, well, that's a good one, and we did a second one, and that's posted today. As you know, Brandon K is every day in March.
It's
I
been
also
great.
did some stuff with Bryce St. Peter, the improv musician.
Nice.
I cut out some of our best parts of the show. We did the comedy improv advice, and I put those separate, see if those get any hits,
Awesome.
if people can enjoy those. And now,
I did check out the CrossFit
yeah,
episode.
Patrick,
You and Patrick talking CrossFit and health and some
how'd you like
crazy.
it?
It was good. Yeah. I think I learned a couple interesting. I definitely learned a lot about CrossFit. I didn't know much about CrossFit, so that was interesting. And then there were some other things that you shared in there that were new information. So
That
good.
CrossFit sounds pretty intense.
Yeah. As far as what's it called, exercise and activity goes, something new I'm trying is learning to ice skate,
Oh, cool.
to play hockey, and that's very difficult. It's a
So
very
you're playing hockey, and you always have to be on the ice when you're playing?
well. So um, right now it's called it's just a learn to play session. So it's mostly a lot of doing drills. So you show up for an hour and you kind of skate up and down. So it's not like a hockey game where you're taking a break and you're coming in and out yet. I'm not doing that just yet. So I'm actually on the ice skating essentially for an hour straight, and it's very tiring.
Yeah, that sounds tiring, and it sounds tricky to. We're talking about Alan's ice skating. Alan is learning ice skating, and we're talking. Okay, so I would be afraid to do that because I have
Yeah,
horrible balance. And have you fell down on the ice yet?
I've fallen down a couple weeks ago when I was kind of coming back into it. It had been about a year and a half since I did it the last time. I slipped and fell and landed on my left side, and so my rib was hurting for a good
Oh,
little week. And then also slipped and landed on my elbow. Got a nice bruise there, or a little bump. So yeah, it was quite painful.
you're sticking with it though.
Yeah, it's fun. I feel like I'm making small improvements, and the falling really comes from trying to do like little tricks, and plus when I did that I wasn't wearing the hockey pads. When you're playing hockey you actually have like pads on, and it's you have a little more buffer. I fell today on the ice, but I just landed kind of on my elbows, but you have elbow pads on.
How many weeks in are you?
So it's today was week number 2. So did an hour last week and an hour this week, and then I have one more training week, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
Very cool. We're doing the live stream. We had 2 viewers come in and leave when they come back in, I'm gonna try to see if they can test the comment feature.
Sure. Yeah, I
So
didn't get any like notifications saying you were going live, but I mean, I'm on the show, so I don't know how that works exactly. But
yeah, it's weird. I don't know how any of this works. Can you go on Instagram and see if it went
yeah,
through?
let's see what we're seeing over there. If I can switch. Am I blank on the screen? Oh, you know what? Also, I have my. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
I have limits set to um not go on social media for too long. So,
You gotta
but
unlock.
I don't see anything in my like top story line saying that we're live or anything.
Yeah,
Is
my
your
my Instagram does not say that we're live, so maybe it's not live on Instagram.
Yeah, I don't think
It says I'm live though. It says I'm live on a StreamYard. So
right.
this is all just testing the waters. I might have to learn more about it with Patrick or on YouTube and stuff. But
And what's the other one? And on YouTube, I can see if YouTube has anything going on.
yeah, well, there we
Let's
go.
see.
Hey, we're testing my
Oh,
live.
okay, yeah, I can. Oh no, I see Crow's story,
If you
and then I
got
can see.
one, if you that one person who just came in, if you comment something, we're gonna test to see if I can see you over here. Test, whoever you may be. I don't even know where I'm
Wait.
live on right now.
So what I can tell you, okay, now that I'm back, is that you are definitely live on YouTube.
Cool. YouTube
So
Live.
YouTube, we're and that's one of your main sites for posting and whatnot. So that's good.
The main site is on YouTube. Okay, so we're gonna get into Deadpool now.
Yes.
Starting with Alan. Were you a fan of Deadpool before he came and got his own movie?
Um,
I see
I
your Deadpool shirt now.
what's that?
I see you got your Deadpool shirt on
I got a
now.
Deadpool shirt. He's saying tacos. Tacos.
Yes, he's a
Um,
character. He's a
he is a
real.
character. I mostly knew him from covers. He did a lot. He would do a lot of joke covers. So you'd be collecting X Men or Spider Man, and he would pop up, or there was like one where he was like something with Winnie the Pooh, that he was like, on a cover with Winnie the Pooh or something, and a lot of jokey covers. He was kind of an X Force kind of villain, kind of a vigilante maybe back in the 90s. Really did not know a lot about him or really collect him or read any of his stories. So my first exposure was the the ill-fated Wolverine story origin where he was in the
Well,
movie.
I think even at Comic Con, probably from 2003 to 2008 or 9, when that came out, was like you'd see him kind of dancing around and stuff at Comic Con. People would dress up as him.
Yeah, you'd see him dressed up, but I didn't really know other than like he was kind of jokey, and then is his official nickname like Merc with the Mouth?
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, so like that was kind of like his known thing, and he was kind of like he'd say sassy things, but then yeah, then they took that weird turn with the Wolverine origin, and he was like his mouth was sealed shut, but it was Ryan Reynolds.
Do you know why they did that?
I don't know exactly what the story behind why they did it. It seemed
Maybe it was
weird.
well, he was Ryan Reynolds, and he was. I don't even know if he cracked any good jokes in the Wolverine Origins movie.
Yeah, did he have like was his mouth sealed up before like
No,
his
he was.
mouth wasn't sealed and then he had it sealed?
Yeah, he was a character for a couple lines, and then something happened to him where he got all like badass, and they sewed his mouth up.
Right, yeah. And so like I knew him in that, and then the new Deadpool movie came out in what, 2013, 2015?
Some 14 probably. I would guess
14.
14. Yeah.
And yeah, and that was a really funny movie. I mean, it was kind of, some dark parts of it, and he was getting like creepily, poisoned or something. There was like tortured, I guess. Tortured is the word.
Right.
Kind of crazy stuff going on there, and but it
It
was
was a
good.
big hit of the summer.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And Deadpool in 2014 was all the rage. We all heard that Mr. Ryan Reynolds, it was a passion project. He made his a trailer that got leaked onto the internet and the Sony hacks.
Mm-hmm.
And then we all saw a Deadpool movie coming,
Yeah.
and it was a big hit. Deadpool
Yeah.
1.
when it was still with Fox at that time.
It was still with Fox, but even then, he didn't go and get all the X-Men characters. He only had like Colossus and Juggernaut.
Well, and that was in that was in the second movie
I
more.
think Colossus was like the one X-Men that showed up in the first one.
He was in the first one, and then he was also in the second one, because I'm pretty confident he was definitely in the second one.
He went to like the X-Men
Oh yeah,
and like Colossus answered the door, but it was kind of like disconnected from X-Men, but still.
and it was kind of like could see something was going on in the other rooms or whatever, and
Yeah.
then
And then they
something I
had
thought
they had like they made a couple of their own mutants and mixed them in there, but I don't know what.
no, they weren't their own mutants. Those were they had the X Force, a lot of X Force characters. You had Shatterstar and Domino, maybe was in it.
If you guys are watching this on whatever platform, comment just so I can see if who's watching this. I want to see what this is my first live stream ever. We want to see what the comments look like.
And are there some people watching?
Yeah, we got 2 people watching, no comments.
And I mean, it's possible it's you and me watching. I don't know.
No, it went 2 and then down to 1 and then 0 and then back to 2. So somebody's watching.
All right.
But point is that I don't know who's watching, and I don't know how it's gonna pop up when they comment, if I'll see who it is, whatever. Okay, but anyways.
Oh, there's actually if you go to the chat, it says next to chat there's a comments tab.
Yeah, I'm in it.
And then if you click, it says live viewer comments show up on StreamYard. This is an example.
Yeah.
So that's probably where you'd see the comments. Oh, there. Oh no, that's and
there
then you posted that?
I just hit a button. Yeah.
You posted the chat. Nice, cool.
When do we have? I know Pete. I mean, nobody wants to comment, but when you have a comment, you can throw it up there. Okay, so Deadpool 1 was a big hit. Deadpool 2 comes around. That might be where Juggernaut and Cable show up.
Oh, Cable. That's right.
Cable was Josh Brolin.
Yeah.
Oh, I was watching Dune. Dune has Josh Brolin in it too.
Dune has. Okay, nice.
It also has multiple people from the Marvel universe in it. It's got Zendaya.
Right. True.
I don't know. I feel like there was a couple of Marvel characters in there.
Nice.
But I think they just went. Yeah, I guess. Okay, so well, the Marvel movies has a lot of actors in it.
Yeah, it's pretty much everyone at this point. Just about everybody's been in it. I think the last time me and you chatted, and you watched the Deadpool trailer.
Yes.
We were talking Comic-Con.
Yes.
And the issue is that you have also not watched season 2 of Loki. Is that still accurate?
Yeah, that's still accurate.
Yeah.
But we can still talk about the implications of the Deadpool trailer, which is that somebody, obviously the Deadpool movies had references to Wolverine in them.
Yeah.
He's a fourth wall breaker, so he breaks the fourth wall. And they somehow convinced Hugh Jackman to come back as Wolverine.
Yeah.
At the same time as Deadpool, the rights went over to Disney because they bought Fox.
Well, I think they had gone to Fox, or they went to Disney pre Hugh Jackman signing up.
No, I know. So it's just all these things are happening, and it's like now we get this crazy movie.
Yeah.
It is the X-Men have not come to the MCU yet. Deadpool is now.
Well, we had. Have you seen the Marvels?
No.
Oh my goodness! This is
okay. So
you can't make that statement then. You don't.
We also have to say this is a spoiler review because I just wanted to talk about the.
Well, yeah, no, but you can't make a sweeping generalization that.
Okay, no, I'm hearing you. So, as far as like even last year, there was less. We had seen less mutants in, but now they're starting to tie them in, according to you. And so Deadpool is going to have some connection with the TVA, which is from Loki season 1.
Right.
At the same time, so Deadpool is going to enter And because like you hadn't seen Deadpool anywhere else yet, right?
What do you mean?
He didn't show up in the Marvels or
Oh,
Loki.
no, no, no. He hasn't been crossed over yet.
Okay,
But
so
there.
nope, go on.
Well, I was going to say there's something we can talk about in a little bit where there was a little bit of a tease of a Marvel crossover, but we'll talk. We can say what you're going to say about Deadpool.
Well, just from me coming in, I'm like, Deadpool was a Fox character,
Correct. Yes.
and now he's going to be entering the MCU.
Correct.
At the
So
same
now,
at
go
the
ahead.
same time, I guess it kind of goes along with the X-Men all joining into the MCU, but they're not going to make an X-Men movie to start. They're going to make a Deadpool movie to start.
Deadpool movie to start, and then Fantastic Four will also be coming along first.
Okay, but that's
They've
still not
made
X-Men.
No, correct. It's definitely not X-Men, but it's also interesting because, but the thing is that Deadpool might even reference the Fantastic Four stuff too, because the concept could be he's going to be at the TVA and he has those what are those rods called where they can like, kill off, they can take you out
Oh,
of the timeline essentially.
oh,
So he could go along and he could be like, he could be who's somebody that they might not want to be there. They might be like, oh, Rogue, you're going to be, you're gone, and then they'll bring in a new Rogue or something.
Iceman. Well, obviously, the thing about those X-Men movies was they just did their own thing from the comics. They just made their own world. They
Yeah.
made Rogue young, and they made Iceman young, and then they went back to First Class, and they had a whole messed up timeline too.
Yeah. So now that we're talking about those X-Men movies, do you remember the first technical X-Men or Fox MCU crossover that we witnessed quite a few years back actually?
I don't know what you're
It
referencing,
was in the one was it WandaVision, that show? Remember
right?
we had Evan Peters, who was
Oh,
Quicksilver, popped in, but it was kind of that's what I was saying. It wasn't really
oh,
the actor showed up, but then it turned out he was just some other guy or what, like they kind of
yeah, that was a
did.
weird tease.
Yeah, yeah, they got us all hook, line, and sinker. But it was like it was kind of a little. They were. I don't know, but that was 4 years ago now. So, um, they've been,
Time flies. Yeah, no, yeah, he's from the X-Men movies. Okay, and then and even in the Deadpool movies, he's not like in the X-Men movies. Like I said, they just have like
correct.
a new Colossus and a new Juggernaut. I think Juggernaut was in there, but they just, like he was just in his own little universe where he didn't. The Deadpool movies didn't want to cross over with the X-Men movies yet.
I think it's partly they didn't want to cross over. I think part of it they didn't want to necessarily pay for the big
Yeah,
actors and actresses, or
he
maybe they didn't agree to
that.
being.
Yeah, I think he made jokes about that in the movie, and it was also kind of like a low budget, like I don't know, it was a semi low budget movie,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
they were trying to keep the cost low. I mean, that's the vibe I got.
yeah.
So, but then yeah, in Deadpool 2, we got the X Force, which is like Cable and like Shocker or whatever her name is. Do you remember her
I don't
name?
know. Shocker.
This was the
Um,
African American girl with the afro. She was like one of the main
there
characters in
was
the movie.
Domino.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Yeah, Domino. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know Shocker, but Domino maybe. Someone in the comments can set us straight.
yeah. All these comments coming through. So now we don't know how the X-Men are going to tie into the MCU, but we have this trailer where Deadpool is now saying, "I'm in the MCU. I'm joining the MCU. I'm the savior of the MCU." He even says,
Yeah, I think he said MCU Jesus or something
"Yes,
along
yes."
those lines. Yeah,
And it could be this could all just be a tease too, where it's like you
yeah,
get to the end and nothing has been changed at all.
right. It could be a big red herring, that's for sure.
That seems to be their thing. They like to do is like they tease and tease and tease for four
Yeah,
years straight, and then you never see it happen.
yeah.
I will be interested. You're claiming that the Marvels and Loki have, would you say, major crossovers with the X-Men or mutants, or just very slight things? You would say
I would
major?
say major crossover. It doesn't really, not so much Loki. I think
Hmm.
Loki, you just need to see it so that you can kind of be up to speed. I mean, it's mostly the same as the season one.
So you would not spoil this for me, but I can spoil it for myself right now.
Okay, you're gonna read a
Yeah.
synopsis or something.
Yeah, these are the spoilers, guys. Watch out if you don't want spoilers. I'll put that in the review. Okay, the Marvels. Wikipedia.
You could just watch the end scene.
I could.
That might be better than spoiling it in words.
Uh,
It might not. It might not make a ton of sense, but it will
okay,
be.
I got it already.
Yeah, yeah. So
The
I think
short-lived team-up inspires Kamala to seek out other young heroes and form a new group, starting with Kate Bishop. I don't know who that is.
Kate Bishop is Hawkeye's daughter.
Oh man, I shouldn't have spoiled this for myself. In a mid-credit scene, Rambo awakes in a parallel universe where she is greeted by Binary, an alternate version of the Mother Maria, and Alan.
A certain X-Men who shall remain nameless.
But played by who?
Kelsey Grammer.
Kelsey Grammer?
It's
What?
mind blower. It's great.
Dude, they're just doing weird stuff now.
Well, it's the alternate universe. I mean, it's kind of like in the same vein of what was the one? Was it also? No, it was Doctor Strange, but it was with Wanda. It was when they came across. They brought in Professor X and Fantastic Four, Mr.
Right.
Fantastic, but then
Yeah, that's true. That's
that was
true.
short lived.
They had Patrick Stewart in
Mhm.
the Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah, so we don't really know what's going to stick. That's the real big question is
Well, it
what.
seems to me like they're trying to mix in. They're not going to reboot. It seems to me like they're not going to reboot the X-Men. They're just going to bring in the X-Men we already know.
Well, it's interesting. So this is where the Deadpool stuff could come into play because you have two or three. I think it's two different universes within X movies. So for instance, you have Patrick Stewart was Professor X, and then you had James McAvoy was Professor X.
He was the
Which
younger.
one is going to be? What's
He was,
that?
he was the younger version, so it wouldn't make sense to get the younger version
Why not?
because those movies were made. Those were set in the 70s, and
It's kind of irrelevant. I think they're just going to kind of pick and choose and do what
I
they
mean,
want to
what I'm
do. I
saying
mean,
is that the timeline, as far as the timeline is concerned, we're in 2030 where it's the Patrick Stewart version. We're not in the 70s where it's
because he's older, he
yeah.
would be older now.
Oh yeah, they could. I mean, as far as the X-Men universe is concerned, the James McAvoy is the young version, and Patrick Stewart is the old version.
Right. Okay, that's true. And then same thing with Beast. So I guess your theory is correct because if they're having Kelsey Grammer as the Beast,
Yeah.
then they would go with the older ones because we're further along in the story. So that's why.
We had a younger Beast in those
Correct.
first class movies.
So then you would open it up to Professor X, Ian McKellen, Kelsey Grammer, Famke Janssen as Jean Grey, James Marsden as Cyclops, Anna Paquin, um, Holly Berry. Yeah, so it would be interesting.
But I mean, even in this little tease that I just read, it's an alternate universe, like you said. So far,
Yeah.
we've only seen the original X-Men in the alternate universes, and the Deadpool when he gets to Wolverine might be an alternate universe.
Well, so
And
that's okay. So when they refer to when they talk about the TVA, a lot of it talks about the sacred timeline. You remember that from like the first season and
yeah.
possibly in Quantumania and stuff.
Do you think this movie X-Men and Wolverine, assuming Wolverine has a decent part, do you think it will be the sacred timeline, the MCU timeline, or do you think this will be an alternate dimension?
I mean, I think I personally wouldn't care if what they did was you say, okay, we've got the MCU over here, we have the whatever we want to call it, X-Men over here. And if they just picked and chose what they want from the Fox side, and then they just took some from MCU, took some from X-Men, and now, oh, we're going to create a sacred timeline where we have whatever we want in the sacred timeline, I would be fine with that. Like,
Well,
pick the
first of all,
best.
at the end of season 1 of Loki, the sacred timeline was broken into bits. The sacred
Right.
timeline didn't exist anymore.
Right. So there's a lot of that. They talks a lot about that in season 2.
Right.
There's
So I
a
don't know
lot of stuff that happens.
how that played out. Hopefully, it'll answer a lot of questions.
I mean, I remember how it ended, and it was I think I have my theory of how it ended, but it was kind of also confusing, and I don't exactly remember what the
The end of season one.
no season two.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
There was a big finale moment, and there was a lot of stuff that they had to do
Mm.
to rectify
The eight
a lot of
episodes.
problems.
Eight
Huh?
episodes. Eight
6
episodes.
or 8? Yeah, I don't remember.
All right. So my homework is to go watch Loki season two,
Definitely.
Marvels. But other than that, I'm mostly caught up on Marvel, I believe. Did you see the
Um,
Marvels in theater?
I did. I saw Marvels in theater. It
What
was
was your
enjoyable.
rating from 1 to 10?
I mean, I'd give it a solid 8
Yeah.
with a strong. I mean, overall, the general movie, yeah, about an 8, and then the ending, the cool ending with X-Men popping in, always, but that was separate from the 8. That could be a 10 on its own, but um, the movie holds up. I enjoyed it. I think a lot of people liked it more than. Are you seeing something pop up?
No, I'm just thinking in my mind, why introduce the Beast in the Marvels movie?
Well, he's doing doctory stuff.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So they had to pick a doctor, but yeah, but
So the concept seems to be she might be in the X Mansion or something.
would you
She might
want
have
to
ended up.
see her Rambo mix it up with the mutants to moving forward? Would you like to see?
Yeah. So my understanding is that I think it's the character that she becomes is called Binary, and in the comics, Binary apparently had a lot of entanglement with the X Men. Like she might have been an X Men, like a mutant at some point.
Well, it says that Rambo is awakes in a parallel universe where she is greeted by Binary. Oh, an alternate
Right.
version of her mother.
Oh, it was her mother was
Yeah, her
Binary.
mother
Okay.
was binary, and then in the oh yeah, and I guess we didn't. I don't know when we learned that in the MCU, but yeah,
I think it's just based on her name. Like, I
yeah, yeah.
don't think they actually. I think that was the only moment when they really said
Well,
it. But
she was introduced in WandaVision, so then yeah, you heard
right,
her mom's name.
right,
Was she? Hold on, no, she was introduced in Captain Marvel as a kid, right?
right. I think so.
And then she came back. We saw her again in WandaVision, and she's all
Yeah,
grown up. Okay, yeah, it's a crazy.
yeah.
This
We
is all.
really need to have a big whiteboard and like
Yeah.
have a
Well, they
whole.
this is how
Huh?
they figure everything out. But then also, yeah, when Alan and I go through comics, we
Yeah,
can find like the first Rambo and the first you can go find the first edition, the first issue of the comics that these characters were introduced. I would be curious where when these characters were introduced.
yeah. That's the one thing that even with the MCU better than the X Men, but really X Men will do it too. Which is if there's like a random mutant, other than like unfortunately like First Class, they kind of introduced like Angel, who was like this character that wasn't really a character ever. But a lot of the like little side characters will be like Bishop, or it'll be like they have like these random. It's like mutant. There's so many mutants in the X world that they'll like throw one in there, and then you'll look in the cast list, and it's like, oh, this was this particular X-Men or like Cannonball, whatever. I can't think of a good example, but they'll use real X-Men names that exist in the comic world, which I like. They're not just making stuff up
Oh yeah, in the movies, you mean?
in the movies in both MCU. And so like for instance, if you hear in the MCU that her mom was this person and has a name,
Yeah,
you could look in the comics and be like, oh, who's this person? And then it's like, oh, that's her history. Okay, that's what they're
yeah,
going for.
yeah. It I kind of knew that was going on when I watched Captain Marvel in 2018. That was
Yeah,
like her mom, and then I don't know. I guess I had read some of the fan theories afterwards, and then
right.
before, but maybe before or afterwards. But yeah, you kind of knew that they kind of teased that she was the little girl, and she was going to be I don't know, she was going to become Rambo or whatever. And then they
Right. And
did
I
it,
don't know what's that.
and then they did it. They made it happen, which is
Yeah,
cool.
it was all happening. And then an interesting thing, so something else you revealed that is setting something up, which is cool. And it's I also like this. I mean, I love the X-Men part of it, but the fact that they said, it's gonna be Miss Marvel, Ms. Marvel, Kamala,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then Kate Bishop, and then in theory, I think that Quicksilver or somebody, they're like whatever the new Avengers, they have these the new Avengers, they're
right.
like a team, and then they're kind of combining them together potentially. which could be cool. Like it's the
Yeah.
kid.
I think we saw like some new Avengers at the end of Guardians too, maybe. Like they showed like who were going to become the Guardians after they were done.
Oh yeah, yeah. They kind of, it was the team that was left over, kind of a thing. Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, there was a scene there too. But yeah, now we got the real new Avengers starting, which is Kamala, Kate Bishop, and who else?
That I don't know. Maybe you can Google it or whatever you're doing and see
What
who
am
they're.
I Googling?
I mentioned, well, put in like MCU New Avengers or something, or you can see who she, because I think she went to three. The concept was is that she was kind of being like the
Is this in
can't
the
think of this.
movie? This is in the Marvels movie, or
Yeah,
what?
in the
Oh,
Marvels, it was the end credit scene, and then she was like
all
what's
it
his name?
says is
Sam
that
Jackson.
what?
He
Oh,
was
Sam
just
Jackson. All it says on Wikipedia is that she's forming a new group starting with Kate Bishop, but that's all it says on
oh,
here.
so maybe it was just her. So it's just Kamala and Kate Bishop are the only ones that. So I was inferring that maybe they could bring in quick. I don't know. So now
Well,
look up.
you mentioned Sam Jackson. Did Sam Jackson show up or?
No, no, no. She was acting as Sam
Oh,
Jackson and was like kind of recruiting Kate Bishop as like the next Avengers. That was kind of the homage they were doing. Can you type in
I
New
have.
Avengers
I have.
comics?
Speaking of Captain, or speaking of Nick Fury, I haven't watched
Nick
the
Fury.
the Secret Invasion
Secret
yet.
Invasion. Yeah, I mean, honestly, that one it was fine. It was a fine series.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, other than I think you might have gotten another big spoiler slash, but I think we talked about it was that um Don Cheadle's character.
Yeah, had been a
Can't think of
scroll
it.
for a while.
What's that?
Had been a scroll for a while.
Yeah, he was taken in by the scrolls, and so that's interesting. And there could be other scrolls among us or among them. But go ahead and Google New Avengers comic books and see if like see what names pop up for that.
Oh yeah, well that's probably a rotating cast, but I'll type it in.
Well, yeah.
I know also. Well, I mean, some of them are the son of Black Scarlet Witch. The
Yes,
those twin
correct. Yeah, those two kids.
guys are in there.
Yeah,
I don't know. This is so.
there's too many.
Yeah, well, this doesn't have anything easy for me.
Okay, that's fine.
But
Um,
I believe that it's the twins, and then you can imagine. Oh, here we go. Here we go. List of New Avengers. Okay, so the founders of New Avengers were Iron Man somehow. I don't know when that was, but
he could have like funded it or something.
Captain America, Luke Cage, Spider-Man, Wolverine, Sentry. Okay, I don't know when that
Yeah.
was. Now here's the
So we're
post.
talking more like mid 2000s New Avengers.
Now this has dates after this, which is the post Civil War recruits
Yeah,
was
there we go.
Doctor Strange, Iron Fist, and Ronin.
Hmm.
So we're still at these characters. And then there was the post Secret Invasion recruits:
Ah.
Bucky Barnes, Mockingbird, Miss Marvel, Spider Woman, and Power Woman.
Hmm. Okay. So not
Then
exactly Kate Bishop, but
2009. Now we're in the heroic age. They added the Thing. In 2011, they added Daredevil. And this is
hmm.
just I'm just looking at these names. I don't know how accurate this is, but
Yeah.
it says 2013. The relaunch title doesn't feature the Avengers, but the Illuminati for members see under Illuminati. I don't even know what that is. Now time runs out as 2015 to present. Okay, here we got Sunspot,
X-Men,
X-Men, New
former ex-mutant.
Cannonball,
Okay, former mutant.
Black Widow,
Okay.
Smaster, Manifold, Validator, Pod, and Shang-Chi.
Hmm. A
Then
random hodgepodge.
2015, you got Wiccan, which is the son of Scarlet Witch,
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Hulkling,
Hmm.
son of Captain Marvel and Annelle, fiance of Wiccan.
Hmm.
Songbird, formerly of the Thunderbolts, which is also something that might be, which is a movie that's coming. The Thunderbolts are going to be a movie, MCU movie, right?
Potentially.
Yeah, I
They've
think that
canceled a few things.
Oh yeah. So you know what's up. Squirrel Girl has
Oh,
joined.
yeah.
White Tiger and Power Man. So
Huh.
even this is like different than I would have thought. But these is like you said, a hodgepodge. It's a like all the new ones and the old ones are all together. But then even in 2015 to present, it's the all new, all different, and it's Wiccan, Hulkling, Songbird, Squirrel Girl, White Tiger, and Power Man. It's interesting to me that that they would be the same characters that for the last 9 years. I'm surprised they haven't mixed it up more than that.
Well, they may not have had that comic continue or something. That might have been a short-lived comic, and then it just kind of
Probably, yeah.
ends. Yeah, I don't really, other than what I've heard about New Avengers, because really the first
Present,
reference to New Avengers,
it does say to present, so.
right?
And then I'm sure because it doesn't mention on here Ironheart. That's the
Right.
Ironheart was introduced in Black Panther 2. She's
Yeah.
like the new Iron Man. I'm sure she's gonna be in there, but let's see. So let's make a list. We're gonna make a list of the new Avengers. Potential new Avengers
We
for
know. So it seems like for sure Miss Marvel and Kate Bishop.
Miss Marvel, Kate Bishop.
Right.
You could have potentially
Wiccan.
Scarlet Witch's twins, which is two
Yeah.
little kids. Then you have Ironheart.
Ironheart.
And then we mentioned some other ones, didn't we? Well,
Oh, the Spider Girl, or no, Squirrel Girl. She's been in like cartoons.
Right,
so they
right,
could
right.
introduce her
I'm
somehow.
saying the characters who they've already introduced
Right.
in the
Yeah,
MCU.
yeah.
So you could have the White Vision. You could have the new Captain America, who's Falcon, could be in there.
Right. Yeah.
You could
like
have
leader.
what Winter Soldier's still around somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man, Thor, Doctor Strange. They could all make appearances. Who else? Hulk is still around.
Yeah, you could have
She-Hulk.
She-Hulk. Yeah, you bring in She-Hulk.
Around. Daredevil's around. Deadpool's around.
Yeah. And then the concept here could be, are we going to have these new Avengers and then the X-Men and then some sort of a culmination where there's a battle or a joining of teams, or go either way really with that.
Yeah, it's kind of like, remember in the first Avengers, it was like Avengers Assemble. So like as Kamala goes through assembling the Avengers, do you think she won't have to assemble Avengers that have already been established? She'll be establishing new Avengers.
Yeah, I think that's the
So
idea.
like,
But I mean, honestly, we really don't know. It's very interesting. Oh, and I guess you didn't throw out Shang-Chi, and he was mentioned in those new Avengers.
so like potentially, yeah, like I don't know how tied in Shang-Chi was with the Avengers already or the Eternals, but Kamala, I feel like Kamala is only going to be like reaching out to kind of characters who are younger, kind of like the young generation.
Yeah, that might be the way they go, which would be interesting. So now, we talked so kind of bringing it back to Deadpool a little bit. With this announcement, it seemed like that they're not really going to go forward with Eternals as a storyline. Did you hear about this?
What announcement?
There was a kind of, I think it was Bob Iger or Kevin Feige kind of said, yeah, we were trying something kind of experimental with Eternals, but we're not.
What?
Yeah, that was kind of like announced like this week or
What
last
else
week.
did they cancel?
That's the main one that I remember. I'm pretty sure they're pushing forward with like Shang-Chi 2, but I think Eternals was a little
They might want to consider that one too.
Huh?
They might want to consider chopping Shang-Chi too.
Shang-Chi, really? Why would you say that?
Well, I'm just saying he doesn't really fit in with the
He
whole...
wants. I feel like that character. I feel like it's going to have a harder time making Angelina Jolie and this random ragtag bunch of characters like fight alongside the Guardians of the Galaxy over Shang-Chi, who I think that the actor would like be like, oh, this would be cool. Like I want to be in a big Avengers movie. Like I could see him having a big part of it in it. It might not make sense.
Feige reportedly wants it to be made, but Bob Iger thinks it's a guaranteed flop. Is that what you heard?
I didn't hear it stated that way, but I basically saw that I think it was Bob Iger was the one I saw saying like, yeah, it was too big of a risk.
Bob Iger said this?
That's what my understanding was, is that it was a Bob Iger kind of declaration that Eternals just didn't really work.
So have you been on Cosmic Rewind?
I have.
So that, and this is all spoiler review for just the two of us. I don't know who really watched this, but like they incorporated the Eternals.
They did, yeah.
It was
Yeah, I
very
mean, the Eternals are still there, but to make a whole nother movie about it, like, I mean, I don't know.
rumors claim, but Disney recent MCU movies like the Marvels and Ant-Man 3 did not perform well. Allegedly scrap, and then some commenters are like, maybe we'll see the Eternals again, but they don't have to have their own movie.
Correct, yeah, or they could be referenced, or like, the real problem, as we know, is that Marvel was doing great, MCU was making tons of money, and a major company decided, hey, let's squeeze as much as we can out of this and start spreading ourselves really thin, start coming up with as many shows, we need movies, we need this, we need that. And they started, making too much stuff, and it's too convoluted, and then they started losing audience because of that. So now they have to be like, well, we can't just make money or make movies for fun. Like, we have to make sure there's audiences for these movies. So now they're being a little bit more, you know, conscientious of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking up Phase 5, and I'm seeing all the TV shows that are coming. So there's Echo.
Sure.
Um, I forget where that came from. Was that from,
I feel like there's a Daredevil universe kind of thing, maybe.
or was Echo the girl from the Hawkeye show? Or
Actually, yeah, Echo already came out, and I was
oh,
interested in watching it. I haven't watched it, but it was kind of its own. It was like it was Marvel Spotlight or something. It was called,
okay. Then you got Agatha
right? I
from.
think that's still coming out.
You
People,
got
people liked Agatha.
Spider-Man. I don't know if that's going to be animated or what, but something called Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is coming out.
I like the
Eyes of
animated.
Wakanda, some kind of a Wakanda thing. Daredevil, Born Again, Ironheart, Marvel Zombies. I don't know. This is a weird thing I found, but seems like they're a little mixed up about all their stuff they're going to do.
Yeah, so and they're kind of
Nothing's really on track, even in Phase 5 here. Like, it's like, where does this all come together?
well, they're toying around with some different things because some of their animated stuff is maybe more popular in certain aspects, and some of the the movie stuff isn't hitting it home as well. So maybe they're going like some of those could be made for TV, made for Disney Plus kind of thing.
I got
So
another. I got another list here. Okay,
okay,
this is the movies. Deadpool and Wolverine comes out July 26, 2024.
yeah. So what are we about 4 months away? That's
So
exciting.
that's, I don't know if we're in Phase 5 yet, but I think
Yeah,
we are.
I
And
thought okay. So when we were at the Comic-Con, I
yeah.
felt like the Phase 5 kickoff was like Fantastic Four.
Okay, well, that was before Deadpool was announced, but that will be shortly here. It's going to be. It actually, I'll tell you when that's fantastic. No, that's not true. So, Alan, when we were there, what they said was, they said, "Oh, and by the way, Fantastic Four is coming." They really didn't. I don't think they announced
They
what day
didn't.
it was going to be on. That
They,
I
well, they
recall.
didn't say a date, but I thought that maybe you're saying they also didn't say what phase it was or
Yeah,
whatever.
I don't
The
think so.
other problem with a lot of this stuff was the writer's strike. So
Yes,
we saw that in 2022, and then the writer's strike happened, and so a lot of that stuff got pushed back like a year and a half.
this is a major mess, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so Deadpool and Wolverine comes out on July 26, 2024. After that, we're gonna have two Sony movies, which is Craven the Hunter,
Hmm,
may or may not come out, and Venom: The Last Dance, which is the third Venom movie.
right.
Um, who knows what that's about? They always try to tie Venom in with the universe too. I think at the end of Venom, you see him maybe cross over. He's gonna make his way into the MCU, something like that. But okay.
Yeah.
And then by February 14th, 2025, which is 1 year away, we will have Captain America: Brave New World with Mr. Mackie, Anthony
Is
Mackie.
that a movie?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
so he's getting his own movie.
Nice.
Plot summary TBD. Um, and then Thunderbolts was announced. I'm assuming this is still on the schedule. The Thunderbolts is going to be a mix of two characters we met in Black Widow, which is the Florence Yelena Belova, her sister, Black Widow's sister.
Yep.
and the old guy, Red Guardian.
Oh yeah.
They're on the team, and then Bucky Barnes is on the team.
Okay.
John Walker, who we met in that series, he was like the wannabe Captain America.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's interesting. This is which series?
Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts. Okay, so
So they're
this is
always setting this up. Like in all these movies, you're always seeing these guys starting to cross over. I've seen,
yeah.
because Julia Louise-Dreyfus, whenever she's
Oh
involved, she's
yeah.
bringing them all together. What was the one more recently where Julia Louise-Dreyfus? Oh, she showed up in Hawkeye to do more stuff like this, I think.
And Doctor Strange or no?
No,
No,
no. It was, I
uh,
think
just Hawkeye.
there
A
was another.
forgotten show that really it'll be interesting. I hear a lot of people when we talk about these shows and what's been good and what's bad is Moon Knight. People are like, "Oh, what are they going to do next with?" We know that I feel
Because
like it's not going.
it's because it was just so separate, where it didn't have
Yeah,
anything to do with Marvel or the MCU at all.
which I think that it still could, but it also I think it deserves a follow up. I think people liked it and they want. I think it still would be contained in its own world, but I'd like to see Moon Knight come back around.
Well, it's also these TV shows, which is like, okay, we're gonna see Avengers 5, or no, we're gonna see Avengers 4, and then like imagine there's like a situation at the end where there's all these portals or whatever, like however they're crossing everybody across. It's like if they introduce Moon Knight, people don't even know who Moon Knight is from, like like the mainstream audience is like, who's that?
Right, right.
Like it's interesting if how much the TV universe will interact with with the movie universe.
That's true. It's kind of the same. It's kind of the same with like Star Wars. It's like if you don't watch, Rebels or Bad Batch or whatever, the really cool fans who are watching that stuff when they pop up on the movies get it. But at me, I'm not somebody who watches those shows. So then it's like, oh, I don't know. Like you got to explain it to
As
me
an
a little bit.
example, Mandalorian had no problem doing that and just giving us characters that were straight from the cartoon. And then if you have a big nerd in there like John Favreau, and
Yeah,
they're like, oh, we're gonna do this, and they're
yeah,
like, people love this from the comics, and they just do it, and they've done that with MCU too. Like I think they
yeah,
kind of have a history of just bringing out characters that aren't big hits, and they just are like, we want to this works for the story or whatever.
yeah. Definitely, that'll be interesting. I do want to say let's give it maybe like 5 more minutes. It's getting kind of late. I gotta kind of
I got
so
a
let's
lot to say here, Alan.
we're gonna have a part two later on.
Yeah, potentially. So Harrison Ford is on the cast for Thunderbolts.
Really? Wait,
Um,
what?
yeah, he's
What's
in
he
there.
gonna play?
He might have been introduced somewhere, but don't quote me on that. But
That's
he's in the cast. He's like one of the guys in the government or something.
yeah.
Um, they had the Ghost, uh, who was, I think she was introduced in Ant-Man 2. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. There was like that villain, and she would like jump around and like
And
hide and
Taskmaster was the villain from Black Widow. She's going to be in there. So then you have this whole group of these Thunderbolts, which are people we've already met, and they're going to be mixing it up. Okay,
and that's a movie or a show?
that's a movie that's supposedly
Okay.
coming out, but it was announced at Comic-Con a few years back. Now we have the Fantastic Four, which has a release date of July 25, 2025.
Ooh.
Now here, I don't know if this was really confirmed, but we have a cast here: Pedro
Yeah, the
Pascal,
cast was confirmed. Marvel did
Vanessa,
post the cast.
Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, and Ebon Moss-Backrack. Okay, so we have a
And
cast.
Pedro Pascal, right?
Pedro Pascal. He's
Yeah.
going to carry the whole franchise.
Gonna jump over from he was in Star Wars, right? He's
He is
Mandalorian?
yeah.
Yeah, so that
And then Blade, which is another
Blade.
pivot.
Blade 3 or 4?
This is a reboot. This is the Blade reboot.
Oh, they're rebooting it. Okay.
Well,
But
I don't know. This is Mahershala Ali. He didn't play. No, it was Wesley Snipes was the original Blade, right?
right. Okay.
Yeah, we have a new Blade coming, and you have 5 minutes, so we gotta make this fast. Then we have this Avengers Kang Dynasty, May 1st, 2026. That's been renamed. It's no longer Kang Dynasty, so all these things are scheduled to change. Avengers 2 is going to be called Secret Wars. And then the Armor Wars, it says TBD. They could mix that into anything. The Armor Wars was something to do with the War Machine. Spider-Man 4, these are all like kind of tentative. Shang-Chi is also TBD. They never Shang-Chi 2 was never really figured out. And then even Eternals 2 isn't even on this list, so they might have that right, where it's not updated, or it's somewhat updated because Eternals 2 isn't on here. But originally, the end of Eternals 2, they introduced like the Black Knight, or they were introducing the medieval character. Right. So that was going to go in a whole other direction. But now Eternals 2 is canceled.
What we have it sounded like a little back and forth. Like Feige wants to do it. Iger says no. So, I mean, it's probably going to be a no, but I mean, he might try to.
Knows, though.
Well, if they come out with some big hits again and they can kind of like, figure out a way to make it happen, then maybe I don't really, I personally don't need it. I could see characters Eternals fine, figure out how to tell what happened to some of the, loose ends there. I guess we need to see what happens to Harry Styles. That was a big twist at the end.
Yeah, and then Shang-Chi is TBD. It doesn't have a release date, so I'll be surprised if that movie gets made. But
I would bet it would be made. I think that would be made. That was one of the more successful from phase 3 or 4, whichever we want to, that kind of weird period. I feel like that was one that people were still going to. They were still buying into the whole thing.
So you got to go. We could talk Marvel all day. We got a good solid hour here.
Yeah, I would say I really don't know. I'm a little curious but hesitant on what Deadpool's going to be, because are we going to get a lot of answers? Are we going to get more questions? I hope that Ryan Reynolds knows what he needs to deliver, what everyone's expecting. If he's calling himself, Marvel Jesus, then I think that, he knows that it's got to be a big bang. And I hope it sets up things in an exciting way. But I honestly am a little hesitant too. I mean, it's been but there's been some disappointment the last year or two.
Yeah, I always go into every project thinking like this will be the one where they can really make things right, and like, maybe it'll make sense. Maybe it'll start making sense. Deadpool could definitely do it.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness could have done it.
But yeah, that was one of those disappointing.
Could have to wait till Avengers 4 till everybody comes together and it all makes sense. But right now, like Eternals was separate, Shang-Chi was separate, Moon Knight's separate, everything's separate.
Yeah.
And it's like, will they ever converge? We don't know. We don't know.
And
X-Men are on the way in.
Yeah. But we're excited for Deadpool. Oh, and then I was also going to say, so we got Deadpool coming up in July. Be ready for X-Men, the animated series, coming right up this week, I believe, in a couple days.
You hear the writer was like fired?
I did hear that.
He's like,
unfortunate.
I don't know what that was all about.
Yeah, probably something, not great. But also, just a little shout out, it's the end of the podcast, but happy birthday to Brandon. It's almost your birthday tomorrow. So
yeah,
have a fun birthday tomorrow, and wish Brandon a happy birthday if anybody watches this.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2 days after your birthday, the new X-Men. I think it's being released 1 week or maybe 2 the first week and 1 week at a time, kind of a situation.
Let me ask you one more question before I let you go. When you get a bad Marvel movie, let's just say, I don't know if you have bad ones on your list. When you get a bad one, do you feel disappointment, or like that something's gone wrong, or do you just kind of say like, oh, I'll always be there for the next one,
I'm willing to. I see. So for me, 2 things I'll say is that I am this way with Star Wars and this way with most movies. It's like I go in, I do have expectations, but I try to keep my expectations fairly, moderate, so that I'm not like, oh, this is going to be the coolest thing. So, if something doesn't quite live up to a hype, I'm not as hyped and I'm not as disappointed. So I can kind of see, it's kind of like trust the process, see the journey. I haven't really, I take it for what it is. If there's some enjoyable moments, that's great. I haven't really, I mean, there's been some times where I'm kind of like, okay, I don't know where we're going.
Can you name them?
The one that I wasn't a fan of was the Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. I was like,
how about Eternals? Did you do Eternals?
I was giving Eternals a chance. I mean, I will say, like, there were some moments where it's like, what? I mean,
that was fun. Yeah, that's funny.
It was odd. I mean, it's kind of, it felt a little like, I mean, I didn't actually watch the Inhumans movie, but it felt like It's like, what are we doing? We got the Eternals. Like, let's just get the X-Men already. Like, what do we like? We've had it. You were successful doing this with Guardians of the Galaxy, a team that really no one knew about, and it was like, okay, this movie's great. And then you try to do it again with Eternals, and it's like, okay, that works sometimes, but you can't do that all the time. There's just some teams that it's like, you want the hits.
Yeah.
And I will also say, like, for me, Falcon and Winter Soldier wasn't a great show. Like, I don't know that I'd go back and watch that show. I also heard they kind of like made weird editing choices with like the actual story. So like the story doesn't make sense because they took parts of it out because of stuff that was going on in the world or whatever. So it's like, oh well, that kind of makes sense. Like it was a weird like piecemeal kind of a show and just like
I like
not
that,
that exciting.
but
You like that one?
yeah, there was like a major political message in there about overthrowing the government, something or
Sure.
other. And I don't know what it would have been if they had left their original thing in, but what they had in there was pretty cool, I thought.
Right. I didn't think that it was like it felt like it was like okay, you got movie star characters doing a TV show and it's like they're not really going all out. It's like they're just kind of like, "Ooh, we're on a ship and we're this and we're that." It was just kind of like that was my favorite.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hey, we all have
Cool.
our favorites. Okay,
Yeah. All
Alan,
right.
thank you for being my guest. We're gonna go meet you next time to talk
Yeah.
about Deadpool 3 again because we didn't cover everything here.
I mean,
And
I mean, we covered a lot. I don't. We just really don't have the answers. That's really what it comes down to. I think we'll have to review it after it comes out. I think that's the only thing we can really do now. I don't really want to speculate because I'm also trying to stay spoiler free a little bit, and I know that things have been popping up. So like, oh, this villain's coming into because everybody really wants to spoil this one. It seems like, and so it's been tough, and I don't want to contribute to the spoiler part of it. So let's talk about it when
do you
we
know how
once we watch it.
my shows are all in alphabetical order?
What do you mean?
Every single show I do is in alphabetical order.
Yes, correct. Yeah, yeah.
So I'm thinking of doing like an Eternals chat, maybe with you and Patrick. We can
I
talk
don't know if
about.
I could do a whole. I mean, yeah, Patrick's in there. He might provide some interesting
He's not a
questions.
he's not an Eternals fan.
He doesn't like it at all. I also might need to rewatch it.
Well,
So because there was parts that I remember, but like yeah, it was
no, it's more just like on this topic, like okay, how are they going to fit into the overall universe?
yeah, definitely.
Let's
All
see.
right,
All right. Well, thank you for watching,
yeah,
everybody. This is the first Brandon K live stream. We're going to do more this week because it's going to be dealing with week where I'm going to be talking about dealing with all these different things, dealing with depression, dealing with anxiety. There's going to be more live streams. I have ones from the studio. Thank you for watching.